Hey everyone, welcome to the Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Sunday night. Here to give you guys a first look at the 7-game MLB slate that we have for Monday night. Interesting slate. I thought, when I initially looked at this slate, I was like, all right, I'm definitely going to rock a podcast today. I think Thursday would be the only time that I will skip a podcast this week. So 4 Morning Grind podcasts this week. What's up, chat? See you all over there. We got D Johnson, Derek, Mads, Ryan W. First time I can catch a live on the new year. What's up, Ryan? Dave. You don't like this slate? Hey, well, maybe I can help you with that. I actually kind of like this slate. I think this slate's super interesting. I think that the builds are super interesting on the slate. So maybe I can help you with liking the slate a little bit more. As always, I'm going to break down the games, game by game, pitcher by pitcher, hitter by hitter. And if you like the show, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page and turn on notifications, hit that like button. We appreciate it. We have Super Chat if you want to donate to the show. And like I said, last week, I turned on the Twitter tip thing, and you can do that if you want to support the show. All that will go towards the Morning Grind. So hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. I had a good NASCAR weekend. Had a good baseball Friday night. It was almost a crazy baseball night on Friday night. I had a really good FanDuel team. So hopefully we can keep that riding. And let's start strong here with Miami Marlins, New York Mets. No total in this one when I looked earlier. I don't have it up right now. I'm pulling it up to see if they have posted a total on this game yet. Red Sox have scored 18 runs tonight. Oof. Miami, New York, still no total in this game. I've seen multiple reports here as far as the pitcher for Miami. I've seen that Gillespie might start this game. He hasn't pitched since the 2nd, so that kind of lines up with the 5 days of rest. But I've also seen that we could see Tyler Phillips pitch in this game as kind of an opener. So we'll see how this shapes up. As far as the Miami pitcher goes, I don't think I want to play either one of those. I mean, Phillips is not really stretched out, Tyler Phillips. So I'm not too concerned about playing him. He's a low strikeout pitcher. Definitely not somebody I want to play against the Mets lineup, who just really good against right-handed pitching, low strikeouts. So whether it be Phillips, if it's Gillespie, a little bit more interest, but not like anything crazy. Through his first 2 starts this season, we've seen him really kind of excel against lefties and struggle with righties. So that's interesting for this lineup because, I mean, think about the best hitters in this lineup, and 2 of the best 3 are Soto and Lindor batting lefty against the righty. Pete Alonso would be the guy that you'd be worried about. So if it's Gillespie, a little bit more interest, but still don't necessarily love him for this spot. On the other side, we got Senga pitching for the Mets. Looked fantastic in his first start, and it was against Miami in Miami. Only 77 pitches for him in his first start. You kind of expect them to go up 10-ish, 10, 15 pitches, but the ghost fork was working for him in that game. He had 8 strikeouts, 21 DraftKings points. Gets another matchup with Miami, which if you're new to the show, welcome. If you're not, you know how much I absolutely hate pitchers facing the same team in back-to-back starts. So for me, when it comes to this spot for Senga, I like the matchup. I could see him beating the Marlins here. Pitching is kind of limited on this slate. So I think Senga definitely in play for me. I don't, for what it's worth, I don't see myself locking in on any of these pitchers today. I think there's some interesting pitchers that we'll talk about in certain spots that I like. But I can see myself mixing around my exposure to a lot of the top end pitchers on the slate. So Singa will definitely make a build or two of my 3 to 5 builds that I run out. Up next, the bats. Sorry. The Miami Marlins side of this one. I mean, Singa, before he got hurt last year, we didn't get to see a lot of him, but you kind of expect him to struggle a little bit more with left-handed hitters and right-handed hitters. So maybe Conine, Stowers, Mervis, but overall, not really interested here. This is a pitcher's ballpark. Edwards, he's banged up right now. He got scratched with a sore knee on Sunday. If he's out of lineup, it's just a bump to Singa. So Stowers is still really cheap. He has a little bit of pop. It's kind of all I got here for Miami. And then the Mets side, depending on who pitches, if it's Phillips, it's probably going to be more of a long relief bullpen type of game. So I have no interest in stacking the Mets. If it's Gillespie, I still think I'd have some interest in stacking the Mets. I will say this is not the best ballpark in the world to stack in. So you're always a little concerned about that. But, I mean, overall, I think the Mets are – I like Alonso a lot in this spot. Alonso would probably be my favorite hitter for this spot, maybe outside of Soto. All right, moving on. We got Texas at Chicago Cubs. Eovaldi and Steele facing off against each other. Nathan Eovaldi has now pitched 2 games, dominated Cincinnati, pitched really good against my Red Sox. I watched a lot of that game. He had his stuff moving. We have very cold conditions in Wrigley here. It's going to be 30 to 35 degrees. And the wind is blowing in at 20 plus miles an hour for the first look of this game. So we'll obviously have to see what Roth has to say. But it's dream pitcher weather. I mean, the total in this game was at 6.5. It's gone down to 6. And it's kind of a pick 'em game. Eovaldi is one of my favorite pitchers on this slate. I mean, the Cubs are a great offense, but this is just terrible hitting conditions. This is lock and load pitching conditions. So, I mean, Eovaldi has looked awesome. Hasn't walked a hitter yet. His strikeout rate's been fantastic. He's generating a lot of whiffs and swinging strikes. So the advanced stats definitely back up what Eovaldi's doing. Kind of more of a ground ball guy. Anyway, so Eovaldi in this spot, coming off of a complete game shutout. It's really hard not to like him with the weather conditions in this spot. Again, if these conditions stay clear, to what we're looking at right now, it's going to be a rough road for the bats in this game. Going to the Justin Steele side, I mean, I talked a lot about Justin Steele last time out before he faced the Athletics and needed to command his slider a little bit more, generate more whiffs with it. He looked a little bit better in that game, but still not generating the whiffs on the slider that we need. Roker hit a bomb against him on I think it was a slider. So again, the hitting conditions terrible in this spot. This lineup is much better against right-handed pitching than they are against left-handed pitching. Last season, the only one that really hit lefties with power was Wyatt Langford. So terrible hitting conditions, perfect pitching conditions. I think we're playing the pitchers in this game. I think we're going to take some shots here. Steele's price has gone down. So I want to load up on Eovaldi and Steele, assuming that we are getting wind blowing in massively, 30-degree weather. It just seems, again, perfect pitching conditions here. So any concern with the cold, the pitchers won't be in long. So, I mean, yes and no, a little concerned about that, but I don't know, technology nowadays, and, I think we'll be okay as far as the pitchers being okay for this game. We watched the Colorado game in the snow the other day, and the pitchers were fine. So as far as bats, I mean, I don't want to stack here. Again, these hitting conditions look awful. So Wyatt Langford as a one-off, Jake Berger as a one-off. I like those two guys against left-handed pitching. And then as far as the Cubs go, I mean, Kyle Tucker always in play, but I don't think I want to pay up for a Kyle Tucker at 6,300 on this slate. Just like I don't want to pay up for Corey Seager on the other side of this game. I think this is a game, it's going to be low scoring. I mean, this game opened at 6.5. It's down to 6. So Vegas getting hammered on the under in this game. Minnesota at Kansas City. 8.5 total in this game. Kansas City a 125 favorite. Woods Richardson against Lorenzen. We'll start with Woods Richardson. Looking at Woods Richardson here, like, again, talked about him in his last start. I had some interest. I ended up playing him as the White Sox. And I talked about how all the advanced stats for Woods Richardson last year were not great. And, you know, maybe he really isn't that good of a pitcher, and still ended up playing a little bit of him against the White Sox, but he didn't pitch great. Kansas City has upside. They have a good lineup that doesn't strike out a ton against left-handed or right-handed pitching. I know the lineup's not been like the best to start the season, but you know Bobby Witt's going to get going. I think he had a home run on Sunday, if I remember seeing the tweet. So that's a good sign. Pascantino's hitting the ball hard to start the year. So I don't like Woods Richardson. We're going to talk about the Kansas City Bats on the other side here in just a minute. But I think this is a spot I want to stay away from Woods Richardson. So he'll probably go. I will say this. I'm going to be honest. I don't think I've gotten Woods Richardson right much since the start of last year. Michael Lorenzen, I mean, he's come out and he threw a lot of strikeouts in his first start against Milwaukee at 7 strikeouts. His command was kind of all over the place. He was like right on the verge of getting blown up a couple times in that game, and it didn't happen. Minnesota, they're a team that has a lot of upside power-wise. They also have some big strikeout bats in this lineup with like Buxton, Jeffers when he's catching. Wallner is a strikeout risk, but Lorenzen at 7,100 with Steele at 77. I definitely prefer Steele. And we're going to talk about Hunter Green. I think Hunter Green has like more strikeout upside too. So yeah, I mean, for me, I don't love this spot for Lorenzen, but I could understand why you would take shots on him today. I just personally don't want to play a lot of him. I look at his strikeout stuff last year, and it wasn't great. His whiff rate in that game where he had a 36% K rate, his whiff rate was like 21% against lefties in that game where he struck out a lot of lefties against Milwaukee. So I think it was more Milwaukee than it was Lorenzen. So Ryan in chat, you're asking, do the pitchers typically get their normal workload in cold weather? I mean, every manager and every pitching coach, every pitcher is all different. I mean, if a pitcher's pitching well, he's going to likely get his 90 to 95 pitches. We're not going to see a lot of 100 plus pitches yet. It's just not the time of the year yet. A couple more weeks before we start to see these guys really start to get ramped up and maybe get that extra inning. So right now you're really looking for 5-6 really good innings for 90 to 95 pitches out of pitchers. So I think that question is really hard to answer because, I mean, it's so different for every team, every manager, every player, every pitching coach. So that's a tough one. I don't concern myself a lot with the like cold weather pitchers getting taken out kind of thing. All right. Minnesota Bats against Lorenzen. Again, where Lorenzen struggled last year was just power, especially power righties. So Buxton, Correa have a little bit of upside in this spot. I mean, I could definitely see myself using Minnesota as like a secondary stack today, more than a full stack. Wallner has power. So, I mean, the top half of the lineup would be where I would target here. Harrison Bader is like this dude. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but like this dude's just hitting everything right now. So I don't think I'd play him righty-righty. I'd definitely prefer him against lefties, but yeah, righty-righty. Kansas City bats, some of my favorite bats on the slate. Definitely going to be a team that I stack today. Again, I am not a believer in Woods Richardson. The advanced stats told us to pick on him last year. He really got hit hard in his first start this season. His command was not great in that start. I watched a lot of it. Like I said, I played him, so I watched a lot of that. So I like this spot a lot for Kansas City. They're a top stack for me. Like I said, Witt, Pasquantino, Perez, India, Massey, depending on who else cracks the lineup here. I have a lot of interest. Vinny P is one of my favorite hitters on the slate overall today at 4,600. All right, moving on. One of my favorite games on the entire slate here, Baltimore at Arizona. 8.5 total. In this game, Arizona, a slight favorite here. Zach Gallen against Zach Eflin. It's the battle of the Zachs. We'll go to Eflin here first. So, I mean, he's pitched twice, right? Yeah, he's pitched twice. And, I mean, the strikeout stuff was a little bit better against Boston last time out, but he is a below-average strikeout pitcher. He gets hit hard by both sides of the plate, gives up a lot of fly balls to lefties typically. So, I just don't think Zach Eflin is like a great pitcher. I think he's an okay pitcher, real-life pitcher. DFS-wise, I don't want to play him here. He's getting barreled a lot to start the season. We've already seen him give up 5 earned runs and 2 home runs on 10 hits. And he got a little lucky in his start against Toronto. So no real interest here in Zach Eflin, and we'll talk about Arizona in just a second. Going to Zach Gallen here. I mean, he's the strikeout guy with a lot of upside in any matchup, coming off a game where he just absolutely dominated the Yankees. 3 hits, 13 strikeouts, no earned runs, 6 2/3, 101 pitches. I think that Zach Gallen is easily one of those guys that have the upside to break a slate, but you hate the matchup, right? The matchup is terrible. This game's in Arizona. Baltimore is an excellent team, especially against right-handed pitching. There is a lot of strikeouts at the bottom half of this lineup, depending on who's in and who's out of the lineup. But you still have to get through. Now Gunnar Henderson's back. Rutschman's there. Westberg's off to a really strong start this season, and he's not a huge strikeout guy anyway. Tyler O'Neill has upside now that he's healthy. We know Mountcastle is going to get going. I do think losing Santander was big for them, but Cedric Mullins is really good. He should be in there. Kouser has power. So as much as I like Zach Gallen, I think you reserve him for MME and large field only. I think that is where you play him here in general. I like the Baltimore stack. They're not a top stack for me. I have a lot more interest in the other side of this game, the Arizona bats. But when we're looking at a 7-game slate like this, we just talked about terrible hitting conditions in Chicago. We have New York and Miami and Citi Field with not the best hitting conditions in the world. San Francisco and Cincinnati, 7 total in that game. This is just one of those games you're like, yeah, the upside's there. So I think that is where you like the upside. You want to take some shots on the Baltimore bats. Go for it. I mean, the stack of Baltimore could present a really good contrarian stack today. And they have a ton of power. They're on the road. You're guaranteed the 9th. And I mean, this is probably the best hitting conditions that you're going to have on the slate, whether or not the roof is open. Let's check and see if the information's up yet. Arizona. I used to have it bookmarked. I don't have it bookmarked anymore. So the roof is going to be open in Arizona tomorrow. So it should be really, really good hitting conditions in Arizona. The roof is going to be open Monday and Tuesday, closed Wednesday for what it's worth. So Arizona bats, my top stack on the slate. As much as I like Kansas City, and I was talking about them, I absolutely love this Arizona stack. Corbin Carroll looks healthy. He looks awesome at the plate. I like this spot a lot for him. He's probably one of the top hitters on the entire slate. Like I said, Zach Eflin is very hittable. He gives up a lot of power, a lot of fly balls, and again, he's getting barreled a ton through the first two starts this season. So Carroll, Naylor, I mean, if Pavin Smith is in there, Suarez is hitting a home run, it seems like every other at bat. I know it's really not that high. So with Ketel Marte out of there, we could potentially get like Perdomo hitting up towards the top of the lineup, which gives us a little bit of salary savings. I know Suarez has cooled off a little bit, but going from Washington back to Arizona, roof open. Let's load up on these Arizona bats. I know Corbin Carroll had a huge game on Friday, right? I think it was Friday. He was one of my favorite hitters. I'm pretty sure I wrote him up on Friday on RotoGrinders Premium too. So Perdomo is 3,700. So if he moves up and hits at the top half of the lineup, he's off to a really solid start of the season, and he can steal a base or two as well. So Arizona, top stack on the slate here on my first look. Yeah. Moving on. Houston at Seattle. This game has a 7.5 total. Seattle's a 148 favorite. Hayden Wazinski against Logan Gilbert. Wazinski still looks to have somewhat of a home run problem, is what we're seeing. A lot of fly balls. I know talked about it in depth last time, and I was wrong. I was like, oh, he doesn't give up a ton of home runs. We dug into it more, and that's what we do here on the Morning Grind sometimes. We dig into it more. And once we dug into it, we saw that, yeah, I mean, he just doesn't seem to be that good at not giving up home runs. This ballpark will help. The Seattle lineup will help. I don't think he's the craziest option on this slate. On the road in Seattle, a lot of strikeouts in this lineup just in general. But you worry about the home runs. You know, you got Julio Rodriguez, Cal Riley, a Rosarina. Luke Raley has some power. So I think it's kind of one of those spots where you probably leave him in your player pool for a 150 build because he has some strikeout upside. But, man, we hate to see home run issues and command issues. So we'll see. We'll see what it looks like. But I personally like building 3 to 5 teams. Probably don't get to Wazinski today. Logan Gilbert on the other side here. Listen, this Houston lineup has really struggled to start the season. Small sample size alert. But we have to like start looking at this season at some point, right? Like it's happening right in front of our faces. And when you're looking at the team stats for Houston to start the year, and you're looking at WRC plus, that's 28th. They're 28th in WRC plus, a 66 WRC plus through the first couple. What are we through? 10-ish games. I haven't. I don't know off the top of my head, but I would say that we're probably really close to like 10-ish games, and they're that far down. And you look at the stats, and like, nobody is hitting with power. This lineup looks awful. I think this is an excellent tournament spot for Gilbert. Kind of struggled early in the game against Detroit, but bounced back with a lot of strikeouts in the second half of that start. He got hit really hard in the first and second inning, or first and third inning, or something like that, and then like just continue to strike out hitters at a high clip. Good to see him throw 92 pitches in a game where he kind of struggled early. So I think Gilbert maybe comes in at lower ownership because of the matchup. But I mean, I think the matchup's excellent. Like, we have to adjust, right? We're so used to like Cleveland not striking out a ton, and we've adjusted a lot to that with them having more strikeouts in the lineup. So I think Gilbert's in play. Who are you really scared of? I mean, this lineup is so right-handed heavy this season. Losing Tucker was huge for this team. They just don't have a lot of lefties. And Gilbert, I mean, he was really effective against righties last season, really effective against lefties too. But yeah, I love this spot for Logan Gilbert today. Don't really have a ton of interest in the Houston bats. I mean, if you're playing 150 on a 7-game slate, you probably get exposure to most stacks that have upside. And Houston has plenty of bats that have upside, so I could see getting some exposure to them. But overall, I think that you could take some shots here on Gilbert and feel pretty good about not playing a lot of these Houston bats. Seattle, I'm home run hunting with Seattle. Julio Rodriguez, Cal Riley, Rosarina, Luke Raley. Those are the guys that I'll play here, and I'll just home run hunt. I don't think I'll stack Seattle. I saw chat say Robles probably won't play. He hurt his arm. Did you guys see that catch? That catch, if you haven't, you have to go Google it, look it up somewhere. It was an incredible catch. He might be out a couple days, but it didn't look like it did. I mean, outside of twisting really weird, but man, that we're a few weeks into the season or 2 weeks into the season, and we have catch of the year candidate. That catch was incredible. So if you haven't checked that catch out, go check it out. So, but he could be out of the lineup. Yeah, I mean, I'm home run hunting with Seattle. Wazinski struggles with home runs. Rodriguez, Polanco could be back in the lineup here. He was dealing with some soreness on Sunday, but he could be back in the lineup after paternity leave. And said Luke Raley, but Julio Rodriguez, Cal Riley, Polanco's back in there. Luke Raley might hit higher up in the lineup too if Robles doesn't play. Cincinnati at San Francisco. 7 total in this game. San Francisco a 142 favorite. We got Hunter Green against Logan Webb. We'll start here with Hunter Green. I mean, I always like the strikeout upside and ceiling for Hunter Green. He's a huge strikeout guy. We saw it a lot last year. A guy that can go out and put up 6 to 8 strikeouts. He struck out 8 against Texas and San Francisco already this season. And, I mean, he's just pitched really well, gets a ballpark upgrade for him. The hitters get a downgrade, but he gets an upgrade. Going from Cincinnati to pretty much anywhere is an upgrade for Hunter Green. So, I mean, Seattle, Chapman, Ramos off to a really good start. Adames, kind of a slow start, striking out a ton to start the season. Wade is striking out a lot more this season, which I think is interesting. I think his strikeout rate will come down. I think it's a good upside spot for Hunter Green. I like the strikeout upside. And, I think the Giants have a really good team. I've talked a lot about this team, playing this team just in general. And I don't want to pick on them a ton, but, even if we're looking at just this season, strikeout-wise, I have it up in front of me because I was looking at the WRC Plus numbers for Houston. But against right-handed pitching this season, the Giants, 9th in strikeouts at 25.3%. So there is some upside here for a pitcher that struggles with strikeouts. But we'll talk about the bats in a second. I don't think you want to fade the bats necessarily on a 7-game slate. Going to the other side, the Cincinnati bats are off to a really, really cold start. This is a good spot for Elly De La Cruz, and it worries me a little bit about Logan Webb with him. Stolen base-wise, too. Logan Webb's kind of last year was a little below average strikeout pitcher. He's a ground ball guy. He technically goes out there and just tries to generate a lot of ground balls. If we look at last season, they don't really have a ton of fly ball hitters in this lineup, which I think is so interesting for playing in Cincinnati. I think Logan Webb, okay. Nothing to write home about, but the Cincinnati Reds, another team that have been kind of mediocre to start the season. They're one of the few teams also that hasn't hit a ton of home runs. So I think there's upside in the Reds lineup overall, but I think I prefer Logan Webb over the Reds lineup here. Again, I think that we have pitching and we have hitting. So I think it was D. Johnson who was I don't love this slate, but we have a ton of pitching. I have on my list, I have 7 pitchers written down from when I was doing research before the slate. And I had 3 high upside stacks that I like. So As far as the Reds bats, I think Ellie De La Cruz always in play. Stolen base upside is always there for him. He doesn't have a ton of protection in this lineup this year, which I think could potentially hurt him down the stretch. McLean is banged up right now. We'll see if his hamstring is better. If he gets going a little bit here, Ellie De La Cruz is really expensive, so I could see getting going elsewhere, paying up wise. Friddle, always someone that I don't mind taking shots on, but he really hasn't hit for a ton of power to start the season. Kind of got going over the weekend in Milwaukee, hit a home run. Was it Saturday? I think he hit a home run yesterday. Not my favorite stack. Mediocre offense against a solid pitcher that generates a lot of ground balls. Hunter Green is always someone you could target. So as much as I like Hunter Green's upside in this spot, I mean, you could definitely play Chapman, Ramos, Yaz, Adames. I prefer San Francisco as a secondary stack more than like a full stack. But I mean, you can't overlook what this team is doing to start the season. They're hitting. Ramos has 3, I think, already. I think Flores has like 4 home runs already. So I think you could look at San Francisco here as like a secondary stack. I'm writing that down. I didn't have that written down, but I think San Francisco is a secondary stack. Power upside against Hunter Green. I think Hunter Green probably strikes out 6 to 8 hitters in this spot, but I wouldn't be shocked if he gives up a home run or 2 in the process. It's just whether or not those are those solo home runs or are they not solo home runs? So, all right, we got San Diego at Athletics. That's so weird, right? To say at Athletics. 8.5 total here. San Diego 142 favorite. King and Severino facing off against each other here. Talked a lot about Michael King's first start of the season against Atlanta and how he struggled and like his command on his I think it was his changeup was like just not there. And he went out and he threw a lot more strikes. The command looked a lot better against Cleveland. I should have pulled the trigger and said, hey, it was just one start. And I was so frustrated with myself that I did not do that, especially like I've targeted Cleveland a lot to start the season as far as pitching is concerned. I like this spot for King. He is very capable of big strikeout games. We've seen it multiple times for him. So I don't necessarily love the ballpark because it really seems like this athletic ballpark that they're playing in this year is going to be way more hitter friendly than pitching friendly. But it was really good to see him locate more, only have 1 walk, 11 strikeouts in that game against Cleveland. So we all know the athletic bats have some upside, but they also strike out a lot, especially the bottom half of this lineup. Severino, I'm going to pass on Severino. He did throw a lot of pitches last time out, and that's a really good sign for this early in the year. But, I mean, he's a below-average strikeout pitcher. He's given up a lot of hard contact. And San Diego is just a team that is tough to strike out in general. So, no real interest here in San Diego or in Severino. I do really like San Diego. Again, it seems like it's going to be a very friendly hitter's ballpark. Severino is a below-average strikeout pitcher. I'd rank my top 3 stacks. This is night before. It's a first look podcast, but right now, looking at this slate as a whole, I think I would rank it Arizona, San Diego, Kansas City as my 3 favorite stacks on this slate. So that's where I'm at. I hope the Padres get overlooked here. I doubt they will. But yeah, I really like San Diego. Cronenworth, Merrill, Machado, Tatis. Arias is fine. He's just not a power guy, so he has to do it by multiple hits. Gavin Sheets, my boy Gavin Sheets. How long have I talked about Gavin Sheets, and now he's like on an actual baseball team instead of the Chicago White Sox, and he's hitting. My boy Gavin Sheets, 2,600 makes the stack work. Definitely going to be playing San Diego bats here. As far as the Athletics go, I mean, King, when he's off, he's very hittable. So if you want to play like Butler, Soderstrom, Wilson's been hitting really good to start the season. My boy Brett Roker. That's really it. I mean, I don't have a ton of interest in the Athletics here. I'm more interested in the San Diego side. Bangalier is always a catcher with a home run upside. I think he has 3 home runs already this year. All right, let's play the morning grind game. Again, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. We have Super Chat if you want to leave the podcast a tip and help support the podcast. I have Twitter tips on as well. All of that goes straight to producing and all that for the morning grind, all the hosting costs and everything like that. So appreciate you all. And I love to do this again. I'm having so much fun being back and doing and talking baseball. Easily one of my favorite things to talk about is baseball. So I love being back. All right, let's play the morning grind game, and then I'll get out of here. Under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts. You guys probably could have guessed this already, but if you didn't, it's Hunter Green. I like his strikeout matchup here. Again, I am a little concerned about some of these power bats. I think he strikes out more than Steele, for what it's worth. Over 8K to score under 15. I think a lot of these guys get there today. I think this is one of those days where we could see a lot of these pitchers score in like the 20 to 25 range and just all have really solid starts. The one that, like, it pains me to say this, but Zach Gallen, 8,300 against Baltimore in Arizona, roof open, just doesn't seem like the best conditions to play him today. When you have all these other pitchers that I feel like are just so solid. Over 4K to hit a home run. I think that we have a lot of options today. I'm going to go to Arizona. I'm going to go to my guy, Corbin Carroll. Looks excellent at the plate to start the season. Looks healthy. Zach Eflin, baby. Picking on him. So give me Carroll to get the job done. Under 4K to score more than 10 DraftKings points. I'm going to go to my boy, Gavin Sheets. I like him, man. I am always going to be a sucker for this guy. I just think that he's happy to play baseball outside of Chicago White Sox uniform. Stack to score 6 or more runs. This one's a little tougher because, okay, I ranked my stacks. I won't say San Diego. I do think San Diego has potential to be the highest scoring stack on the slate. But I'm going to go Arizona. I really like Arizona today. I'm trying to pull up. I did the 3-pick parlay already, and I'm trying to pull up it really quick. And it's like not agreeing with me. All right. There it is. All right. So we got San Diego minus 140. I'm just going to take their money line here in this one. And then I have Arizona over 3.5 runs. It's an alt line, so you'll have to look in for that. And then I have Kansas City money line. This is plus 401. So Kansas City to win, San Diego to win, and Arizona over 3.5. Like I said, it comes out to plus 401. We're off to a really cold start. Listen, I have no problem admitting that I'm off to a cold start on these 3-pick parlays. I've had some really good prize picks days to start the season already. The one that I tweeted out on Friday went 4 for 5. I thought we were going to get the 5 for 5 there. Since player props aren't up, I try to tweet those out every once in a while when I remember to do it. So, as always, appreciate you all. Thanks for being here. And I hope you have a fantastic Monday and have an awesome baseball night. on Monday night. And we'll see everyone tomorrow.